Everyone online says you need to scale with a course. And I say, sell the damn service. I'm Emily Williams, award-winning consultant and productized offer expert since 2014. And I'm here to help you work less, make more, and stop custom building your burnout. Each week, we talk strategy, structure, and the real stories behind sustainable service businesses. You know, from service providers who like doing service work, who want to stay in service work, but also just make more money. If you're ready for all that yapping, then let's dive in. Okay, I blame you, but in a lovingly way, because I'm not mad about it, for having Garth Brooks stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
I was sitting in rapt suspense about how you were going to finish that sentence.
Like, what did I do?
Appreciate me for so many things.
Mm-hmm. No, I was watching your stories and I immediately responded and I said, we're going to talk about this on the podcast. Because I have my own Garth Brooks lore, because he lives still to this day, like 10 minutes from where my family lives. And my mom was married at one point and her stepkids babysat his kids. And so there's this weird, like, I would just see him at the grocery store and then like drop kids off at his house. And like, there's this really weird, he just lives in right outside my hometown. And so you posted what I feel like is a very appropriate Garth Brooks appreciation post after the Super Bowl. Obviously, there was hoopla about everything. There always is. And I didn't know that he had walked out because the NFL wasn't going to play his music video to We Shall Be Free? Is that? Yeah. And so I watched that whole reel that you shared and I learned something new about someone I feel like I know really well and love very much.
Right? I didn't know that either. I remember when that song came out and it was like so kind of risque. And I remember years later listening to it and be like, I think we should all get on board with this.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, we can't stop until nobody is penalized for the color of their skin and money doesn't control everything. And I'm like, I feel like those are easy.
Yeah, I feel like we could do that. I feel like it's so funny seeing these flashbacks of songs from the 90s or kind of acts of protest from the 90s, being so relevant to today. And also, we're currently rewatching West Wing, and I think we're on season 4 at this point. But the similarities of everything that's talked about in West Wing is still happening. Nothing has changed. It's all the same.
I mean, except I want to push back a tiny bit. The thing I think that's changed is like, if you watch The West Wing, you're just full of idealism and hope. And I think that's a little bit more in short supply now.
Agreed. Fully agreed.
And they're talking about issues of like fundamentalism and how things come across in protest, but like then how they actually are in practice in governance. And yeah.
We were watching an episode, I can't remember which one it was about, and I'm crying, and I feel like, President Bartlett is my second dad, and I love him so much, and I'm crying softly, and Brian's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, I just feel like this, I know it's a show, and I also feel like we used to have a government that acted like this, and we don't anymore. And I truly do not know if we're going to get back to this kind of feel good space with our leadership. And that makes me really sad.
Okay, 2 things. Yes. I'm so glad we're yapping. Okay, number 1, have you watched the movie on Netflix, Train Dreams?
No.
Okay, well, you need to watch it.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
I had a similar experience of last week being, we're situated mid-ish February, and last week being like, a lot for the human experience. And I watched Train Dreams, which is like beauty and reverence for the human experience, and I could not stop wailing. Like, it's not
Is
like
it chain? Are you saying chain? What are you saying?
Train. Like,
oh,
train.
Choo-choo train dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm writing it down. It's on Netflix?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
just crying, like, it's not like, "Oh, there's a sad plot point," you know? It's
Mhm,
just that same sort of cathartic, like, wish, like, recognition of something aspirational and true, and I'm just,
mhm.
like, crying to the degree that there is snot all over, that I'm wiping with the blanket, you know?
Yep, yep, I
No.
been there.
Yes.
Shows and commercials, I just sometimes can't handle, and I will just sit there we just got through the season in West Wing where Zoe was kidnapped. Spoiler
Uh-huh.
alert, if you haven't watched West Wing at this point, these are
You
massive
had
spoiler
20
alerts.
years. Sorry.
I don't know where have you been, but Zoe Barley gets kidnapped, and the first it has been a very long time since I've watched West Wing. Quite literally, I might this might be the first time I've rewatched it since becoming a parent, and my kid is 9 years old,
Uh-huh.
and I was snot sobbing during those episodes of the anguish of that is so good, and his anger and his disappointment in himself is so good, and him and Abby are still fighting right now because she blames him for that, and I'm someone, especially because I've watched this show so many times, that I pause in the middle and I will, like, yell at Brian about something, like, in the episode,
Yes.
and so she's, like, mad at him and I pause and I go, "If you were ever president and you did something like this, like, I would never
Yeah.
speak to you again."
It's called
And he's
relationship building, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Called
He's like,
important connection time.
"I'm sorry, what this is never going to be our reality."
But just so we're clear.
Yeah, put your
Yeah.
just so we're clear, put yourself in their shoes so you can understand what would happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think, like, at the certain cultural moment that we're in, I just think it's just so important to have those moments where you're just like, "Oh, I'm still a soft, squishy human that, like, can feel and cry and hope for things," you know?
Well, and I think honestly, that's a big part of I know that there's like lots of discussion about social media detoxing and what is the boundary of staying aware
Mhm,
and informed
mhm.
and not burning yourself out. And I think it's really critical that we all find that balance. And I know that it's really interesting because Brian and I actually just had a huge tech reset about 2 weeks ago because we were both feeling I was feeling depressed and sad, and he was feeling combative and like nothing I do will make a difference, and so I'm just gonna kinda fight through everything, and we both realized that just like the constant media of what is going on and that desire to be informed and make a difference is it was rewiring how our brains were functioning. And we took a pause and we deleted some apps and we, put our phones away and it's incredible how quickly you get back to what feels like yourself after you do that reset. And
Oh,
you
embarrassing.
it's embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing because I'm sitting here, 2 days later, 3 days later, whatever, kind of looking back at my old me being like, "Oh my god, like, how did
It's
I
so
let that
easy to
happen?"
put the phone down.
Put the phone down.
Yeah.
And, it's just this constant, like I can convince myself really easily that I do it for work and I'm on the apps for work and all of this thing is
Mhm.
necessary. And I saw that I think Courtney Shaw of Yay for Clients, Yay for 100K. She's a service provider who has an incredible like group program and cohort. I've known her for many years. And I saw that she took I think like a month off of Instagram and was recently back and how it made her feel 10 times 100 times better. And yet, it is such a vehicle for our businesses and our brand presence and whatever, even if it's not a huge driver for clients and real conversions, it still feels really necessary. Are you someone who kind of is still trying to juggle all of that?
Um, am I a human person in 2026?
Hi.
I think too, I think another piece, um, I mentioned once that my plan was that I was gonna take 2026 off of social media. I was like, "I have big creative projects, and it's over 90%, I would say, of my business comes from referrals. So I was like, I'm making up a story that I have to stay here. And then it was 2026. And I think there's also the piece of me that like deeply cares about the world that's also like feels out of integrity to have my head in the sand.
Yes.
And that's such a tricky balance of like knowing about things like that is deeply important to me. I just will never be a person that's like, I don't know, I just like to focus on
I don't read the news.
no, it's just not I know that's not you either.
Mm-mm.
That's why we love each other.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so but that balance I think is tricky, and this is what I've come to after a really similar like, completely dissolving as a human, just, like, puddling into some kind of despair, and also realizing that I was looking for something. Like, I kept
Oh,
feeling this compulsion in the last few weeks to be like, I I like, I think I'm looking for something to make this make sense, or for something to happen, for there to be some sort of resolution or, um, penalty for people, and I was like, "That's not coming." Okay,
no,
so then what?
no.
And this is my personal current philosophy, however, is as
Mhm.
someone who has watched a whole lot of lawyer shows, there's, like, this scrappy little firm, and they're always for the good guys, and then the bad guys always have some huge firm and endless resources, and they come in with whole huge trucks full of documents. They're trying to bury you in discovery. I'm like, "That's what's happening." So if I
Yes.
frame myself as the scrappy firm fighting for good, I'm like, "I will not be buried in discovery. This will not work on me." And that is my current way with, like, no hard bound of navigating the world, and I have, like, a few rules for myself in place of, like,
Yeah.
you know, but I don't
Yeah.
want to be not useful, and I don't want to not know, and that's tricky.
100%. And it's I feel part of me feels really guilty for this because I 100% agree with everything you're saying. I feel like we're aligned in a lot of the same ways of like wanting to make a difference and wanting to be informed enough so that I can make a difference and acknowledging the privilege that I bring to this table and knowing I don't wanna have my head in the sand and it's not appropriate for me and it's not safe for my family, for my child, for me to have my head in the sand. There are a lot of elements here to bring to this table, right?
Uh-huh.
And protecting mental health space and yada yada and all those things. Um, I I just started, we just started watching The Lincoln Lawyer last night. So, have you watched this yet?
I
It's
haven't.
on Netflix? Okay. Speaking of discovery and big hotshot defense and prosecution teams, I
Mhm.
think you would love this show. Um, I did not okay, here's something really funny. Um, the show has been around for years. It's on its, like, 4th season, and the 4th season just came out, and so Brian was like, "The 4th season of Lincoln Lawyer just came out. I wish you had watched it because I think you would like it. I'm ready to watch the 4th season, but you need to watch it so we can catch up." And I was like, "Great." So we started it last night,
Mhm.
and I said, "Well, I haven't watched it because the name of the show, I thought it was, like, Abraham Lincoln and history and, like, someone's an old-timey attorney, and it's just I was like, "I don't give a shit about them and that, and I don't care." And he's like, "LOL, that is not at all what it's about." So it's incredible. It's this incredible Mexican actor who is so good. He's so good. The women who are casted in this are phenomenal, and, like, I think you would legitimately love this show, so you should go watch it because I think it'll scratch that itch. But part of that is I have I've had to mute some accounts that I love to follow and that I love to be informed from because I think it was back in, like, I feel like 2018 when, like, the Black Lives Matter movement got really big and really popular,
Yeah.
um, and more mainstream that, like, graphic warnings just ceased to exist online.
Yeah.
And you could just be scrolling and it's a cake recipe and a plant and a business, and then it's someone being murdered on live television. And while I think it is important to know that those things are happening, I do believe in consent. and that I did not consent to see that.
Yeah.
And that is the part that I don't love that's happening right now.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I totally agree, and I think paying attention to the format that I look for information has been really important. Like, even the scroll, like, that you have a scroll that's already designed for dysregulation, and then the content itself is so fragmenting, that I tried I'm doing pretty good right now, if you talked to me last week, but I really
Yeah.
out, like, text-based information. So, there is, like, news, Substacks, um, some people on Instagram that provide, like, really text-based
Yeah.
information, and I will go look at those ones on purpose because I can hold, like, the information and still my own system a lot better.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, totally.
I literally have a Substack and follow Substacks, and I if you have any news related Substacks that you do enjoy, let us know and we can add those to the show notes. You can find them later and link them up. But that's a really great idea of being very intentional about the medium in which you are following.
Yeah.
Because that's why I don't I mean, cable I gave up cable news forever ago because
Yes.
Lord. But that's a big reason because they would just show whatever. But, like, Instagram has turned into that now where it's just, "There's the video."
Yeah, it's like the sensationalism for its sake, and then I can't be there as much and still hold myself
Right,
together.
right,
So if I can go
right.
read it, uh,
Yeah,
yeah, and really looking for too my past life as an English teacher for a long time, but looking for, like, the inflammatory, like, language and
yeah,
imagery and, like, kind of attuning to where I'm being funneled that direction, I'm like, "No, that's not what I need right now."
yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, the reason why we've spent 16 minutes now chatting into this, like, A, love yapping with you about this, but I know that a lot of your clients have really big social platforms, and
Mhm,
they are very well known in their niche spaces. I mean, we're talking millions of followers. And
mhm,
I know that social media is a huge asset for your
totally.
clients. And visibility for my consulting clients is massive and highly engaged, highly visible. I mean, thousands and millions of people watching. And so I know you are not someone who maybe in your own life, but not necessarily in your business, can just say, well, we're just not going to do social media. We're just cutting it off. I think you're having to be intentional about what is that boundary and how is it for work. I've thought about like, okay, so we just upgraded our
Okay.
phones yesterday.
Yes.
We, I've had the same phone for, like, 5 years, and the sound is going out. It only works on speakerphone now, which is very embarrassing. So I'm like, I cannot be that person who uses my phone on speakerphone. So we finally
Well,
went last
double
night.
take and be like, "I expected her to be 65. She's young."
Literally, "Who
Who
is this
is this grandma?
grandma? Oh, it's her. Okay." So we went last night to get phones and, so A, I'm excited about getting a new phone because the camera's gonna be so good and I'm really
Yeah.
excited. And I always use, like, getting a new phone as, like, an opportunity to do a reset of, like, what because I start fresh on a new phone. I don't bring anything over. I only transfer contacts. That's it. I only transfer contacts, and I, like, pick and choose what apps I wanna re-download and, like, what do I want on here. So I get to use it as a reset. And so I've been thinking about, okay, how do I want to use this and how would I want to set it up? But because of how the phone situation worked, we are only trading in one phone, so we're keeping one. And I'm like, do I have a business phone? Like that doesn't no one needs to call me, but it just needs to have like threads, Instagram, and my email and Slack. And does my personal phone not have those things?
Uh-huh.
And I
Uh-huh.
have to, like,
Well,
deliberately pick up a different phone to go scroll and to go check those things? Maybe.
I mean, kind of hearkening back to what you led with initially. I'm like, just, tiptoeing the client confidentiality line.
Yeah. For sure, for sure.
And and there's something that one of my current clients says that I think is so brilliant. that so many people are like yearning for an earlier age and like want the
Yeah.
90s where there's no phones and just analog things.
Yeah.
And the point is like, well, you could. Like, does it take discipline? But like, you could put your phone away.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could like put in some parameters so that you're not accidentally picking it up and scrolling all the time. Like, I do this all the time. I mean, I talked a big game about deleting social media, but I haven't, and I'm not like social media free. But like, how often do I pick something up of like, oh, I need to check out this person. I need to find something for work. And then all of a sudden it's 15 minutes later. Then I'm like, how? I was doing something. I swear
Yeah.
I was doing something. And like, what
Yeah.
would it actually look like to have those physical parameters in your case of like, my work phone goes away. And now I'm a
Mhm.
90s human that crochets cardigans and bakes
Exactly.
cakes and
Exactly. You know
watches
what?
a movie with my daughter.
I think I'm gonna do it. When you describe it like that, like, I think I wanna do it because I'm sitting here with my quote unquote work phone and it
Yeah,
could stay down here in the office. And my office is downstairs. It's on a whole other level of the
yeah,
rest of my house. So
yeah.
like I could just leave it plugged in over here and it's not gonna have cell service. So it only works on Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
So my real phone could just have like art and fun. Like if I want to have an app, it's like a drawing app or it's whatever. Like
Like,
I'm
you
really
really
excited about
could
this
live a life.
journey.
I really could live a life. When we first got cell phones, what was mine? 7 or something?
Yeah, when was my first cell phone? Yeah,
Like a flip phone that people just call you? Like, of course, you have a child, you probably don't have a landline, who does? Like, you
yeah.
don't.
Well, they're coming back. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a bunch of and I love the opportunity for, like it's so funny because everything is cyclical, like, landlines are coming back, and they're coming back cute, and, like, someone has rebranded the landline, and it's cute now, it's all marketing, right? But it's specifically for, like, kiddos who can chat with their friends,
Mhm.
and you can put your contacts in, but there's no digital screen, there's no touch screen, there are buttons. I've talked about this on the podcast many times, and I start to sound like a I don't know, an 87-year-old conspiratorial old lady who I'm like, "Just bring back buttons and dials. I don't know why
As
everything is a
someone
touch
who's
screen."
also an AI automation is genius, and you're like, "I would like."
It's so annoying. I
Yeah,
know. It's so annoying.
yeah.
Dualities.
Well, that's exactly the point, right? Like, why don't you harvest from the fact that you can have AI agents automating whatever,
Yep. Yep.
and that you have more time to go be a 90s human
Yeah.
outside crocheting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the
My
cage
kids
is not locked. That's the
exactly.
point.
My kid had a friend over last night, and they did a lemonade stand, and we made strawberry lemonade, and they sold it at the end of our driveway, and we just got to chat with neighbors, and we were outside, and when we cooked outside, it was, like, our first nice day. It was a random, like, pre-spring where it was, like, 70 degrees, and it was beautiful, and it's just like, I didn't have a cell phone that I could scroll on until I was in college, and so there were years and years and years of just, like, a phone only has one purpose. You can play Snake on it, and you can call your dad. Like, that's it.
Good.
'Cause I couldn't even text because it was, like, 87 cents a text message or
Yeah.
something, and
You're
my parents were
really
like, "Don't"
monitoring those. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
And, like, the text would be printed on the phone, like, bill. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Because they just like, nothing was actually digital. I mean, it was, but, like, old school
Yeah.
digital, and so they could see everything, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna I'm not using that."
Totally. Well, I mean, I didn't have
Mhm,
the parental monitoring, but I didn't have a phone until after I was finished my undergrad. And you're
mhm.
really thinking about I just remember, like, I was dating someone at the time that would text me all the time, and like, "Why don't you just call me? Like,
Right,
why are you
right.
sending me messages?" It's so dumb, which in retrospect, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, stop calling me, just text me."
Stop calling me. I know. I have 2 clients right now, one who loves to call me, and I love it. I've never allowed clients to have my number, which tells me now maybe I'll have a business number and they call, like, that line, right? But he'll text me or he'll call me, and I kind of love it. Like, right now, in this season, I love it. I'm
Yeah.
sure there will be a point where I don't love it, but
Yeah,
right now, I'm really liking it.
totally. My OBM has a work phone, and, like, we communicate on Telegram. Her personal phone doesn't have Telegram. She, like, on the weekend, she doesn't even see it. Sometimes she'll be like, "I had to check something, I saw that," but, like, I just know she's not gonna see this till Monday. It's fine. If it was an
I
emergency, I have her personal number, I could do something, but, like
exactly. Yeah. Well, like last night, I saw an email pop up at like 7:10, and I was in a space where I could respond. It's not. I used to be very hard and fast about like, do not email me after 5, and I'm not going to message it, and I'm not going to respond to this, that, and it was just these very hard and fast boundaries. I think because like there are so many aspects of the business that fell out of my control, but
Yeah,
now like I'm like, I got the email at 7:10. I was on my computer because I was plugging in some camps for the summer,
of
and I'm
course.
like, "Oh, I'm just gonna email you back because I can and I want to, and it's fine." And it doesn't feel pressury, and it doesn't
Yeah.
feel weird, and so, I don't know, make your own rules and also set your own boundaries, I feel like.
I mean, I have to add one more thing into this discussion too that, I have a you know the physical, like, bricks? You can brick your
Okay, do you have one?
I have a card from Bloom. It does the same thing, but it was just cheaper. You could get more of them.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yes.
Bloom, I'm writing that down.
And I really to have it on from, like, 5 AM to 9 AM, and, like, usually and I would find myself just accidentally scrolling first thing in the morning, just 'cause, like,
Yes.
I was cold and I didn't wanna get out of bed till my heat was on or something, like,
Yep.
the accidental nature of it, and so mine are all blocked, all my social medias are blocked so that because it's, like, designed to hijack you like that, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And so, like,
Well,
give yourself a little if you're like, "Ah, I can never set boundaries and stay off it," then, like, have a work phone, get a thing,
yeah,
reclaim
yeah.
your life. That's the thesis.
Well, and especially I have a literal degree in art.
Yeah,
Art. I
yeah,
went to school for art,
yeah.
and I know the power and what creative thinking can do and what getting to create something, write something, make something, like, what it can do for you. And I found myself even doing it today, and so this conversation is just a helpful reminder of, like, I've had a couple of meetings today where there's, like, 10 minutes in between or 15 minutes in between, so there's not enough time to get a task done, and so I'm like, "Okay, great. This is my time to scroll Threads. This is my
Mhm,
time to scroll Instagram." And while sometimes in work and business, if you're engaging and you're trying to build awareness and visibility for your brand, it can definitely be very intentional. But there's also, like, I could journal, I could read, I could sit here and do nothing for
mhm,
15 minutes.
mhm.
And knowing that all of those choices have various impacts on me and my day and my creativity and thinking and all of the things. And
Mhm.
I don't know, it's just that constant reminder, I think, that there's always a different choice that could be made.
Totally, and I just, like, love having because there's so much accidental, so I'm like, if I
Yes,
wanna be on it enough that I'm gonna get out of bed to my card that's in the kitchen and, like, unlock it? No, it's just enough of a disrupt that I'm like, "I'll read a Substack, I will meditate," like, I own
right,
that. But I need my phone because I have to play my New York Times crossword games in the morning, so
right. I gotta do my Wordle.
can't not have my phone. I don't have
And
a
that
phone, so I can't.
yeah, well, and, like, did you see this was weeks ago, when Taylor Swift released her new album and months ago at this point, and there was some storyline about, like, her BFF Ed Sheeran didn't find out about something about the video or something until, like, someone told him about it or something because he
Yeah,
doesn't have a phone,
yeah,
and he just has an iPad, and that's it, and it was just this hilarious of, like, yes, he is in a point of privilege to not have to have a phone. I think that that's part of this conversation that we're not talking about right now, but I want to acknowledge, like, we all need phones for different reasons, for different
yeah,
accessibility things, to do our job, to look at bus routes, to pay bills, to communicate with like, there are absolute needs for these devices. I am not saying go cold turkey. And the whole, like, living off the grid is a choice of that's in privilege. Like, I need
okay.
you all to realize that. And yet there is this artist who's done incredible things who's like, "Yeah, I don't have a phone. Like, you
Mhm,
can't reach me. If you wanna reach me, there are ways to reach me,
mhm.
and a phone is not it."
Yeah,
And to some degree, we could all make a level of that choice.
Totally. I mean, 2 things. My personal I was gonna say musical, but it's far beyond that. Idol Stevie Nicks tells Katy
Yeah.
Perry, like, "Oh, you think all these women are your rivals, but if you didn't have social media, you just think of them as, like, friends."
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, she said something like, "I don't have
Yeah.
rivals because I don't see them like that because
Yeah.
I don't literally see them like that."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And number 2, for myself and for my clients, like, I feel like one of the most powerful things to pay attention to is the, like, "I wish I could," like, you're always kidding on in on a key desire. Like, I
Yes.
will find when I meet clients, it's usually in a pivot or, like, a reimagination, and they're always like, "I wish I could just something," and I'm like, "Finish that."
I love that exercise.
Yes, and then you're usually hitting on something that you could actually and you have some made up bullshit reason,
To
like,
some degree.
yes. Like, generally speaking, it's actually not as stuck. I wish I could just launch this thing. I wish I could just market like this. And I'm like, "Okay, what if you could though?"
Okay, so I love that
Mhm.
reframe too, because so mine that I think I didn't realize I was doing this until you called it out in that way. I was raised by some incredible women, and one of them has had to work very hard, like physically hard her entire life to like make ends meet and still does to this day. And she cleans houses for people who are wealthy, right? And they obviously live a different life than she does. And there were multiple times throughout my life where I would help out during the summer. If I was in between jobs, I would help clean and we would go clean and do houses together and all of these things. And one of her favorite phrases, especially if we were going to a house where the people were like packing for a vacation or they were out of town, so we had like an extra list of things to do, she would always say, "Ugh, must be nice. Must be nice to get to go to, Europe for a month. Must be nice to have all this construction mess because you're putting in a pool. It must be nice for whatever, whatever." And I always like it grated on me as a child because I'm like, well, yeah, it is nice. And like they worked for that and they get to have that. Like just because they have it doesn't mean that I understand now and the dynamics of her not getting those things. There are a lot of different layers to that. And of the part that you can control, what are you doing about it? What version of that must be nice or I just wish I could can you introduce into your life? And some of that is just the acceptance of where you're at right now and acknowledging all of the amazing things you do already have and that you do get to do. And that was a big part of it for me of like that sentence from her always came from this I'm never going to have that. And therefore, what I have isn't as good as what other people have. And if that is your lens that you're looking at life, nothing is ever going to be good enough. And you're always going to be working for the next thing. And I realized when I had about a $320,000 launch over the course of 7 days. And on that seventh day, I said, okay, well, that wasn't enough. What's next? That I was like, oh, who's her? Who, what?
Mhm.
What? And I didn't even realize it like in the moment that that's what I was doing. It was probably not, it was like 2 years later that I was like, oh, shoot.
Shoot, I missed enjoying that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And I think, like, connected to that, feel like I haven't said this quote in years, but I said it earlier in the podcast, is it's this one that's like, "Hint, the cage is not locked." And I
Mm-mm.
mean, you can have, like, my whole academic background is in, like, intersecting systems of oppression and how we're, like,
Yep.
just to drop in the disclaimer of the approach that we both come from.
Yes.
And for so much of the time, it's like, "Well, I wish I could do that." And, like, the amount of times that I have looked and been like, "I wish I could close down this whole thing that's not even making money and just do this," and been like, "Huh,
Oh, actually, I could.
who's the boss? Like,
Yeah.
who's the rules?"
Yes. Yes.
Like, that is
And there are
so important.
And there are steps we can take, right? If
Yeah.
we're bringing it back to business, right? If you're like, "Okay, I wish I could just shut down this whole thing and not have to do that anymore and just do this." Okay, great. Some of us can't just turn off an income stream in our business in an instant. Okay, what's the plan though? What's the stair step to get us from there to here if that's what we want, because we don't have to, it's not a light switch. We can actually just take it step by step. But if we have to plan that action, and we have to
Totally.
design the strategy to get to the next place, especially if we financially can't just leap,
Totally.
and there are options still.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like more simple alignment things than you think.
Functionally, every
Yeah.
time it's more simple than we try to
Like, I
make it
have
out
a
to be.
lot of clients. I mean, I do work with like really large scale creators, people with really big platforms, but I work in my done with you sold out services sort of thing that
Yes,
I
you
was
do.
profoundly helped with. I work with people who are not at like they can invest in the done for you thing. We do all of the captioning, architecting of the whole thing. And very often I have people that are like masterful at their craft and their referrals come from these in-person events that they do or something. And they're like, I wish I didn't have to dance on reels. And I'm like, do ya? Like,
Do you?
do you? I mean, even you're such a great example of being such a like threads. I'm trying to think of a really complimentary, like, you know, you're such a
Threads and
thread
Insta.
catcher. Threadsinista. Threads Ninja. I mean, that's where I found that you existed,
Yeah.
and I felt like everyone is talking about this woman. Who is she? And then I was like, "Oh my
Who
god,
is
she's
this
so
girl?
smart." I love her. Anyway, but there's just people you can come in with this idea of how you have to do it, and that is
Yes.
generally not true. And it's like someone else's rules. Like, if I wanna have a serious business, I have to do it like this. If I wanna
Yes.
grow, I have to do it like this, and that's mostly usually made up.
Yep. Yep. I just recorded a solo rant right before we hopped on, where I talked about this, where I ask clients, and I hope that I'm posing the conversation in nearly every one of these episodes where we're just kind of shooting the shit. Yes, but it's designed intentionally still, where I'm wanting you to kind of see that there is a different route you could take to get to the result that you're actually after. But
Uh-huh.
90% of the time, when I have people coming to me talking about what they want to do, it isn't what they want to do. It's they're coming to me with, here's how I think I have to get to the thing that I don't even know that I want. And so it's
Is
this
it that you're
really
supposed to do
weird.
it?
Right. Right. And so it's like this, here's the thing I'm going to offer at the price point and the marketing strategy behind it, even though I don't really want to do this and it seems exhausting, but it's going to get me to this result that I haven't even verbalized. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, let's take a couple steps back and really
Uh-huh.
figure out what we're actually after. And I aspire to be, and I hope that this comes across, because while I absolutely talk about productization until, the cows come home, and it's definitely the work in SOS, and it's all of these conversations around service providers scaling, if you want to go a different route, I love that for you. I fully support you, and I want to point you into the right direction. And I want you to know the expected result on the other side of that. And if that result isn't what you're actually after, then let's regroup and
Mhm.
let's figure out, what is it that you're actually wanting to go toward, not what you think you have to do to get that.
Well, I think something you do really well in there too is actually distilling down. I mean, I work with clients, brands, strategy, copy design, and like the obvious way to take that is to like build an agency. I do not
Mhm,
want to. I've done it. I hate
mhm.
it. I don't like it. And what you do really well is like, what are the parts that you do like? Like, what's the real
Yes.
magic? And like, how can we build something? I'm like air quotesing to the podcast vibes, like scalable that you can do more of that is probably outside what you think is the way that you have to do it, which you often talk
Yes.
about, like launch a course or a product or whatever. It's really taking the magic of what you want to do and doing more of that.
Yes. Yes. Figuring out what are the systems that are needed for the structure so that you can do more of that. And for some people, that's hiring and white labeling or outsourcing. For some people, it's systems and template design. For some people, it's dramatically increasing the price of your done for you service, so you get to have more playground over here. That's the route I took. That's
Mhm.
the route I think you took.
Uh-huh.
And you get to have a playground and be creative because you're getting compensated so well by some incredible people in this space over here. It's about having the guts to pitch that and to send that proposal, right? And getting into the room where you're getting those introductions for sure. But in the same way that it's not a light switch, I didn't go from landing a $1,500 project to having an $80,000 project by flipping a light switch. It was one introduction that led to another, that led to me raising my price, that led to another introduction, and so on and so forth. And that's what then got me there. And I feel like a very similar vibe for you, would you say?
Totally, totally. And I think we have similar models in the done with you as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have a pretty good sense now of you're so brilliant at like distilling, optimizing, but just not in like a ruthless broy way. Um, there's still so much human touch in there and so much room for like this is the art of your craft that you like keep more of that.
Yeah.
And for me, I love the beginnings of things. Like, I
Mhm.
also is would be a normal thing to do is, like, try to have more retainer clients. I just want to, like, gouge my eyes out, fall asleep with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love doing the beginnings. Like, you're in a pivot, you're making something new, I am your girl. We will, like, create the whole thing. And so, because I have these big done for you projects too, I get to do more of the beginnings with people that are in a different space, which I also love, that wouldn't be able to, like, their business is in a place where that kind of investment makes sense. But I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
come in here, we can do just the fun part
Yes.
and the piece that's more leverage, more of a win for you. And it's so
Yep.
fun.
Well, and I think something that we've both done really well is we've if you look at the online business space and industry as this like moving circle, right, of all of the industries and the people's just kind of wiggling around, we went just like one layer outside of that circle to find our ideal bigger clients, right? It's connected, it's still in the same universe, but it's not the majority of the mainstream of the folks who even myself included, like I am in that wiggly small circle, right? Of I'm not hiring someone for an $80,000 package, not right now. That's not the
We got
size or
really
needs
good
of
at
my
stuff
business.
because we did so many things ourselves.
Exactly, exactly. And so I that's not to discount them because I am
Mhm,
them. We are each other.
mhm,
And I had realized that I just because I live and I work in that space doesn't mean I also need to have clients in that space.
mhm.
Or I don't need to have clients in that space that I'm expecting to pay me 20, 30, 40, 50,000 plus. I can go just outside another layer to find those clients that are willing to pay that, have the budget to pay that, aren't stressed about paying that, and get to teach and serve inside of the community that I love. But like the rent gets paid by you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, by the outside
totally.
layer.
Well, and if I mean, you're also right at this, but, like, as someone who loves the beginnings of things and the divergent thinking of, like, "Ooh, you have a business that's, like, these other things that aren't, like, you make a course and you did this," then, like, how do we make all of this one cohesive thing that builds into each other? Like,
Yes.
yes, please. I'm always checking for my own offers, for clients' offers, like, is it a win for you, a win for them, a win for the world? The
Yes.
3 questions I go through, and so for me to move out in that circle a little bit, it's like a win for them because they're like, "Who can come who gets the whole thing?"
Yes.
And it's a win for me because 'cause I'm like, "This is so much fun.
This is so much fun.
This is so
Yes.
much fun." Yeah,
Oh,
like,
I
we've
love it so
designed
much.
an almost I would say it's like an 80% analog funnel for a
Yes.
creator with a huge online platform. That is so fun.
Yes. Yes.
That is so fun.
Yeah, so the people you get to work with from the very I mean, I just know a little bit about, but, like, it's so funny of just these, like, random industries we have found ourselves in this kind of consulting side of like, I never thought I would know so much about the compliance and ethics space ever, or like working with attorneys, or like
Yeah.
nonprofit world, and all of these, and being a nonfiction, a memoir author, and like all of these kind of random things that I'm just like, this is really scratching also that like neurospiciness of like, let me learn
Totally.
everything about this random
Yeah.
industry and so I can serve you really well.
Yes. You're gonna fund my hyperfixation? Yes, please.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
100%.
also, like, n that neurospiciness of, like, knowing a little bit about everything.
Yes.
You're like,
Yes.
"I already speak more of your language than you think." I
Well,
kinda
and
speak more
what's
than you think I do.
what's so funny is I got a compliment pretty early on from one of my clients who's in the compliance, privacy, ethics space, and because I'm a writer at heart, I will just draft an email if we need to send out. I'll draft the Substack. You can make whatever revisions you want, but it's easier for me to just write the thing than to outline it. Like I'm just going to write it. You change whatever you want. Here you go. A LinkedIn post, whatever, when we're content planning. And he was seeing, I think, one of the emails, and he was like, you you should be a writer in the compliance and ethics space. Like you know a lot about this industry. And I'm like, no, I don't. And this is just I do
You're like,
now because of you.
"Oh, I would get bored so fast, though."
I would get bored so fast.
So
No,
fast, though.
nope. I want to write for you and you and you and you.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, I have to use this as, like, a highlight. This is such a perfect highlight too, that you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I would rather just write it than outline it for you." And they're like, "Where can I find someone that will just do it?" And you're like, "I'd
yes,
actually rather just do it." That is
actually me.
yes. And I found
Yes,
that in my done for you work that I'm like, "I would rather write all the copy and, like, then I'll just show you, okay?"
yes,
And they're like,
yes,
"How?" Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I can do this thing, okay?"
I can do it. Yeah,
Yeah, and then done with you is also such a fun model because we do all the things, and then I always would have this impulse when I was, like, teaching or coaching, be like, "Hey, now go do it," and still feel like, "I wish I could just, like, go do it for you."
kind of get in there. Yep,
Yeah, like, "Here, now you get it? You get it now?" And
yep,
so, it's like the people are so thrilled saving so much time of like, "Oh, yeah, that's it." And
yes,
it's a win for me because I get to just follow the impulse of like, "I can just make it. Here you go."
yeah. I'll just do it. I'll just do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think that like done for you work kind of gets this reputation sometimes where everyone assumes that done for you work also means implementing, and it doesn't. And at least not in my world. It can, like, they can definitely mean both,
Mhm.
depending on your industry and your package for sure. Like a web designer, right? Like, is probably not going to design it all on our platform and say, okay, now go plug it into your website, right? They're going to actually do it, right? I'm writing the email, but that doesn't mean I have to schedule it. I'm writing the post, I'm writing this, but it's for your content library, right? Like you can use it however you want. And I'm also going to teach you how to repurpose it and use it so we can pour our brain into one piece of content and go use it for other things. But you get to decide how to what degree you want to be a part of the life cycle of that piece of material, and it doesn't have to be everything.
Totally. I think a really important shift that happened for me for sure was, like, inherent in the name of service providers. You're just like, helper, like, whatever you need." Like, I really, at the beginning, kind of had this attitude. And
Mhm.
it took a while to really look at, like, I actually function as a thought partner in here. I'm like a
Yes.
main strategist in here, like, to really come in, and it took a while to, like, value myself appropriately. I know that sounds kind of snobby, and that's kind of the whole lesson, is, like, that it isn't my job to just, like, take care of whatever you need. Um, yeah, and that also changes how much you can charge. Where
Yes.
you position yourself, like that internal shift actually elicits a lot of external shifts in your business model.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time it does.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to hear a little bit more because this episode is going to be airing right around when we're welcoming in a new cohort for Sold Out
Yes.
Services folks. And so you're
Uh-huh.
going to be seeing some, not that there's a community part of it, but there's going to be some fresh names inside of the program. And I know you've been in it for a while now and you've dipped your toe in and you've implemented and you've designed a whole new container and you've like made some changes. I would love to hear just your take on what you feel like some incredible takeaways from SOS have been and how it's impacted where you're at in business now.
Totally. I would say before we started working together, like I work mostly with people who are coaching, teaching, authors, and that container creation, that offer creation is different than when you have deliverables and you're making things. And so
For
I
sure.
spent so long being like, I do this for people all the time. Like, why can I not do this for myself? And I kept feeling like I need someone who like gets all of it to also like there's a confidence piece too where you feel like you're stumbling around in the dark trying to figure things out of like I think this is good. Is this actually good? And
Yep.
it changes how you sell, market, deliver when you have that solidity from someone else. And
Yes.
so to go through SOS, that was part of it, but also the program itself is so intelligently designed where you're not lost in theory. Like there's so much help in there
Mhm.
that is actually asynchronous that
Mhm.
I think I sent Emily a lot of messages about this of like, this is so smart. Like I am transformed just by looking at how you created this and set this up as a
Yes.
support piece. And then you have this whole sequence of kind of like running these checks and balances and also looking for the things that you didn't see on your own. So I came in with a really rough sketch of things and also with a really clear knowledge of like, this is taking way too much time. I feel like I am like remaking this every time. A huge change was that I wasn't confident enough in this productized offer. And so I would put extra things in it all the time. Like I would get to a place where I'm like, I don't know, I think that was too easy. And then I just keep making more. And so going through this to really clearly define those parameters, price the things, tend to that's a put piece we're implementing right now is, that, client experience piece
Yes.
that it doesn't one thing that I think was surprising and shouldn't have been for me in so-called scaling was that I used to work just sequentially. Like, I do one done for you project, and then I would do the next one, and I could hold it all in my brain in a
Yeah.
Telegram chat.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the mental bandwidth that it was taking to hold everybody's businesses in my
Yep.
brain.
Yep.
And so seeing a system to externalize that, to have automations, digital, like handle some of those touch points that you feel like
Yes.
clients are being cared for and carried, not in a really distance, like cold automated way.
Mhm.
Um, but in a way that really marries together the strength of what you do best and also the ways that we really can rely on technology, let it carry some of that bandwidth for us.
Yes.
Like those
Yes.
were really impactful. And I haven't even implemented all of it yet.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I have
It's
tried,
beefy.
yeah, it's beefy, but it's not artificial. Like
Right.
it's
I
so
designed it
potent.
to build upon each
Yeah,
other, and I hope that's what it
totally.
feels like.
And you never feel like I have been through I mean, I think all of us have been through a lot of
We all
corporate
have.
by this point in time, you know?
Mhm.
And there's sometimes you get to the end that you're like, "Well, I got 2 things out of that, so
Mhm.
call it a win." And this
Yep.
is so concentrated, but not overwhelming. That's another piece of why it's so intelligently designed. Have like have checkpoints and times where you check in with you and asynchronous support. Um, yeah. So it's really overall transformative without feeling overwhelming and undoable.
I love that. It's so great to hear, and I can't wait to continue to see, like, the pieces that you plug in and see the results of that. It was the design of this came from 14 years of being in this industry and seeing not just behind the scenes of other service providers' businesses, but also being a part of a lot of programs that were really good or really shitty, and how to take what I liked about a container and hated about another and really transform something that felt that it built upon the last piece that you just installed, right? And you conceptualize something, you take in information, you conceptualize it, you apply it, you get it reviewed, and then you install it and you repeat that at every single kind of pillar. And I used to I think a big part of it too is like old me very much felt it took a lot. I took feedback from clients and students very personally, and if someone was like, "Oh, I wish this element was here. I wish this was here." I very much read that as like, "You think I'm the worst person ever, and you regret your investment, and you don't wanna be here," and all of the things.
Mhm.
And I have done so much work on that in the past 3 years that I can now begin to, like, read between the lines even in, like, offer submissions or the way that people are asking questions that I can anticipate a need before it even gets verbalized at this point. So, like, the implementation checklist were a new addition in the last, 30 to 45 days because I was seeing, like, people were doing the work and they were getting it approved, and then they were feeling very like, "Okay, well, I did that, but now what?" And
Yeah.
so I'm like, "Okay, great. Let's do this checklist and you submit it, and here's all the places that you can install that system,
Mhm.
and let me know, when you do it and where you put it and how it went." And it feels like a very nice, "Okay, I did that and I checked it," because I think we all love that kind of
For
feeling.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think I've said behind your back many times that it's rare that I mean, that maybe this is a little dismal, but it's a little bit rare in 2025, 2026, to sign up for things and for it to be better than you thought, and that
Mhm.
has been my
Mhm.
experience. And
Mhm.
for people to be actually smarter than you thought, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those 14 years are really showing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
tr been here.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I wanna really reflect, I think that it kind of speaks back to an, earlier concept that we were talking about, is I think it's such a great example SOS is such a great example of where you combine something you really love and stay with it. Like, you have
Mhm.
had so many iterations, and
Yes.
I have found in kind of like it's this weird way that this kind of, like, online business dysregulation manifests is that people are always like, "I tried this and I tried this." There's, like, a speed and a turnover to it. I mean, I did
Yep.
it, like, ask me how
Oh,
I know,
we've all been there. Yeah.
right? And I think there's an important experimentation stage, but where usually when I work with my done with you clients, it's kind of like that is closing and they can feel there's something else. And so setting up a place where you can, like, really, like, set up camp, plant your
Yes.
gardens, be like, "This
Yes.
is the thing," and I love what you talk about is, like, I have a podcast, so I don't keep making courses, so I
Yeah.
don't keep, like
I
I
will rant for 27 minutes so I don't build a fucking course, you guys.
like, a place for all of that range and creativity, but, like, when you're designing your offer intelligently and all of you belongs there, like, you do this, but you're weighing in on copy, you're weighing in on systems, offer design. I mean, mine is very similar, is like,
Yes.
here's the best parts of what I can offer. All of me belongs here. And
Yes.
like, then you can set up camp and you can make it get better and better all the time. And that's where it starts to, like, get to the fun part.
Yes.
And I think there's an unfun part before for all of us. But,
Yes.
like, this is the piece that I want people to get to sooner, and it also
Yes.
requires throwing out some of those, like, "This is how you have to do it, then I have to make a course." Like, you have to realize that the rules are not as static as you think they are, and build
Yes.
something that fits you and is a win for the people you wanna help.
I mean, I yell at you guys all the time on my other podcast with Jesse Lee, the Lazy Business Podcast. If you haven't listened, we rant all the time about if you are just chasing dopamine, go get a hobby. Like, quit fucking up your business just to chase dopamine because
Yes,
I did it. We've all done it. And
yes,
like, I would rather you teach yourself how to crochet than to buid another offer or restructure something else in a way that is so far opposite of
yes,
where you're headed and where you're at right now. I I cannot tell you how good it feels to I love your analogy of like making camp, right? And like planting flowers and setting up camp and I've got it went from a sleeping bag to a tent to there's a little cabin on there now. Like that's how it feels. It feels very Animal Crossing style over here. And I committed SOS. Technically, the version that you guys know of SOS was introduced last March of 2025. I was doing a version of SOS one-on-one, done for you, intimately with clients before it grew into a container that could house more people, right? But that's productization for you, right? I hit my revenue ceiling, my ceiling season, and I wanted to increase that revenue. Therefore, I needed to increase my capacity, so I had to make changes. And so the first iteration of what was named sold out services came in March of 2025. So when I launched it for the first time, my husband, who has been a part of this journey for as long as I've been a business owner, was like, "Hey, stick to this thing this year. Like, stick to this thing this year. You're so good at like making things and doing all the things, but I really think if you commit to this thing." And usually I'm like, "You don't know anything. I'll do what I want. I've clearly been so successful. Like, what do you
Yeah.
know?" But then I was like, "You know what? Let me try that." Like, that sounds like actually a fun challenge because it was a challenge when I tell you the amount of things that I was like, I just need to brain dump this idea and I'm not going to make it, but I need to tell somebody about it and just like put it into a Voxer with
Totally.
a friend.
Into
And
the
so
IKEA parking lot.
exactly, it's my
Awesome.
parking lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so in a couple of weeks, because we're recording this on February 10th, it will be officially a year old. And it was about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that I was looking at numbers and looking at all the data and all the things, and I recommitted to, I'm going to commit to sold out services for 3 years. So I did it for 1 year, so now it's my 3-year commitment. And so we've got 2 more years of this being my core offer. And when I tell you the pressure of like, "Oh my god, well, how is it gonna grow, and what is it doing, and how is it" like, all of that is gone because I know when I focus on making the results better and faster and easier and bigger and the program better and the communication better, that all of those things will just happen.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
such a different playground to be in
Mhm.
business.
Mhm.
Mm.
Totally. Totally.
I want that for everyone.
Yeah, we want it for everyone. I was, like, sneaky finding this quote that I just feel it, like, is worth it.
Yes.
Um, hold on. So much pressure. Oh, no. I see it. It's like, I know right where it is. Um, it's by Flaubert. I am just still there it is. Okay. This is the theme for the revolutionaries that we've talked to, the creative business girlies, whatever you are. He said, "Be regular and orderly in your life so that you may be violent and original in your work." And that is my goal of 2026. I feel like it has taken me so many years to get here. Is like I am committing to so much being boring so that
Yes.
my main things can be incredible.
I love this so much. I think I need you to send me that quote because it's very chilling. And I love that this is also such a theme for so many people who've been in this space for so long. Steph Crowder's talking about being boring. Ashley Rose is talking about being boring. We talked about this on the Lazy Business podcast with Jess Ely, where she talked about how in order for her um business to be boring, she needed to now make her life exciting. She had to kind of flip-flop it because her it's been the opposite for so long. So we had a different take on it over on that podcast. But for the majority of people that I'm talking to, this is the season of that. And I wrote an email even last launch where the subject line was God, she's boring. And it got a lot of open rates because people were like, who are you talking about? And it's me. It's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And it I it's such a different type of being in business. It's a different type of work. It's a different muscle that you're flexing. And what's so funny is that what I want to say is if you've been bored, try being intentionally bored so that you can be creative in other ways and then you won't be bored again. Like I know that sounds so like weird, but that's how it
Yeah.
feels.
Well, and I think, I mean, pulling a little bit to the philosophical here, but like women traditionally, which I would guess is not all your listeners, but probably a lot of them,
Definitely
I've,
most.
like, um, scaled horizontally, keep making new
Uh-huh.
things, and
Yep.
instead of scaling vertically, and I think that underneath that, there's also a reticence to power. Like, you keep fragmenting a little bit because there's, like, what happens if you really go in on this? And you
Yes.
are resourced, and you're doing powerful work, and you know what you're doing. There's, like, those energy leaks disappear, which I
Yes.
think can be really unconsciously confronting. Like, what if I
Yes.
did have my life under control and I know what I'm doing and I have this in my bank account?
Yeah.
Then what?
Then what? Yeah.
Then what? And
Well, for me, giving up the starting something new, truly, I
Mhm,
used to do it every quarter. Like, I'm not
mhm,
kidding. Like,
mhm,
it was my business model to create something new every quarter. Going from that to this, I and I'm gonna say this about myself, so if it hits home for you, that's
mhm,
your business. But I'm very much talking about myself because I know this applies to so many people. There was certainly a massive level of fear of I got to stay in the, "Well, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying and I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall because I'm doing something new every quarter." "Well, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying. I'm just trying. I'm just trying. Look at me, the underdog, trying something new. Root for me. I'm trying." And when we start over so many times and we're just trying and we continuously make ourselves the underdog, it y you succeed in your own ways in that route for sure. I built a seven-figure business that way, like, I'm not gonna tell you it doesn't work,
actually top
but
notch at this.
I'm actually really good at that,
Yep.
and when I
When I
tell
tell
you
you
my
my
entire relationship with myself and the people closest to me in my life impacted for the better when I got out of that, "I'm just new and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying, I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall" phase. When I actually stepped into authority and expertise truly, like, I think a lot of people say that they are and they aren't, but, like, truly, a lot was impacted for the good behind the
Mhm,
scenes.
mhm, totally. There's just, like, a concentration of power and a freeing up for all those things that you say, like, "Must be nice. I wish I could just hang out with my I wish I could make a
Yeah,
sweater. I wish I could bake a cake." Like, there's
yeah,
something really personally confronting under that,
yes,
and the cage is not locked. And, like, I think that there's such a call there's, like, a moment of, like, what if there were more women that were like, "I know what I'm doing, and I actually have extra time to do
yep,
shit that I care about, or, like,
yeah,
to do how I want in the world."
yeah,
And there's, like, power to that depth. Like, I have 3 really big things this year. I know that's too many, but just don't worry about it. But, like, it really forced me to look at, like, there's 2 things that are building that I won't reap from for, like, years. And so, this one strand of my life, like, this part of my business, I just actually can't afford for it to be crazy, and that sounds so, like I mean, stuff is coming up when that comes out of my mouth. And there's, like, a maturity that you were talking
yes,
about of, like, I actually do
yes,
know. I actually do know what
yeah,
I'm doing,
yeah,
and it's this whole identity shift. I do know what I'm doing. It actually costs quite a bit of money to do that. I'm actually
yeah,
really great at it. Like, those
yeah.
are things that women are not great at
Nope.
saying without some internal work.
100%, and I truly, like, it's because of therapy of why I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you all.
Yeah,
Find you a good therapist, get comfortable talking about the shit that you're going through,
yeah.
and get you okay, for all of my, like, eldest daughter, high performing women out here, my therapist says thank you when I'm honest. And
Mhm.
it has created this really unique cycle of, like, I get positively affirmed and feel like I'm doing a good job when I'm honest about my feelings and about what things mean. We just had a call today. We just did a virtual check-in, and she asked me a question, and I paused, and I said the truthful thing. She goes, "Thank you." And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know what that does to me." I like it.
The phrase "kink lives forever."
It's so strong.
Yeah. You can't
But
put your work out of that
I will keep telling the truth with you, though.
or telling the truth of, like, "I actually can't do that this week. That will have
Exactly.
to wait." Oh! And it's like a muscle that we have to build.
Yes. 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 But
I
get you
think
a
I can
therapist who
do that.
says thank you because it will help you build the muscle.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
Cristy, this has been amazing. I love that I did not know where this was going to go, and we went 75 directions. And that's just
No,
how it's going to be.
I
Yeah.
was like, "I don't remember what the topics that I said that we should talk about," and then I
You don't
thought,
need to
"I
know.
I don't think that's important."
No, you don't need to know. No, we're
Yeah.
just going to see what comes up.
Yeah.
Will you please let everyone know who's listening where they can hang out with you online,
Yes.
see your work, refer people to you,
Mm.
etc.?
Yes, please come. I am at Cristy Lee Duce everywhere. There's no H, Cristy. It's very phonetic. Leeduce. That's also my website. There are not gonna be new exciting things rolling out all the time. These are the ways. These are the
Yeah,
ways.
this
And
is it.
also, like, practitioners, coaches, teachers, like, you are my jam.
Yeah.
Let's get to the good part.
Yes. Definitely go check out Christy's work. All of those links will be linked in the show notes. And if we
Mhm.
do find any good resources for news Substacks, we will put those in the show notes as well. So you guys can check those out.
I
Um,
forgot that we even started there.
I wrote it down. Don't worry.
You
I wrote it
have
down.
such a
We
bit.
talked about Bloom. We talked about Brick. We talked about
Yeah.
Train Dreams on Netflix. So all of those things, I have to say them and write them down so that so my husband does the podcast publication, so he'll like do the show
Mhm.
notes and he finds all the links and
Thanks,
he does all the
Brian.
things. So I have
Yeah,
to like make sure they get said on the transcript so that he sees them and finds them. But so those will all be there. Thank you so much for coming on and yapping and hanging out and saying hey from Threads last year so that we could work together in all the capacities, and I'm excited for I think we're gonna be working together in some pretty cool ways this year too, so
for
I
sure.
can't wait for that.
I mean, and for all of you that, feel sticky about speaking out online or, like, pumping your own work or whatever, thank you for being such a Threads ninja so that we found each
Ugh,
other. Thanks
I
for
I
being out there promoting yourself and being in conversation so we could find each other across countries and continents.
it's almost like when you pitch yourself and say what you're an expert in, other people who relate to that will say, "Oh, I need that, let me chat with that person," and then you never know where the relationship's gonna go, so go pitch yourself today. Go
Yeah.
hang up this
Develop an
podcast.
authority anchor, if you will.
Exactly, use your authority anchor positioning statement and go pitch yourself. Okay, love you guys. Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sell the Damn Service. I'm really honored that you spent however many minutes you just did with me. Now, if you could go do me a very quick favor and be sure to like, subscribe, leave a rating and a review for this podcast over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or, pick your favorite platform. I'm not going to be that choosy. It truly means the world to me. It's how little tiny shows that are like mine, that are self-funded and, being edited in between dinner time and school pickup, it helps us get seen. It's free for you to do and takes just a couple of minutes. And I would love you forever if I could send you an edible arrangement as a big thank you. I would. So instead, consider this giant thank you directed just at you for going to do that. And share this episode or this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it. I love ranting and raving about service-based business strategies. And, I think more people should listen to this show, honestly. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really, really, really am grateful that you're here, and we will chat very soon.